But I do want to talk about out of DC. The Democratic Party in DC, Washington, DC, mistakenly kept Senator Sanders off of the ballot in DC. Now, I read the whole, I read up on it. And it's causing a lot of panic in, well, you know what? Not panic. Let me be fair. I don't think it's causing panic as much as frustration, because it seems this type of foolishness happens, and that's the nicest way I could say it, is foolishness, right? Really shenanigans. These types of shenanigans happen all the time with Senator Sanders. And in the article from thehill.com, it's clear that there you go, Freudian slip. Senator Sanders and Hillary Clinton both submitted their $2,500 fee before the deadline. But somehow Senator Sanders' name was left off, but not Hillary Clinton's name was left off. NBC News 4 reported that a voter in DC filed a challenge against the Vermont senator's registration. That would be held in April. That's not the real problem. The problem is that, well, actually, I'm sorry, it's right here in front of me. This is interesting. All right. So in the middle, dead smack in the middle, I was reading this one line and it just kind of caught me off guard. Dead smack in the middle of this issue that the Hill is reporting on is the fact that a voter, an individual voter in DC, filed a challenge against Senator Sanders' registration, which will be heard in April. They're not crediting this to being the cause of his name not being on the roll. But it's odd that that's dead smack in the middle. So it gives you the impression that it has something to do with it. But according to the Hill, the reason his name is not on the roll is because of an administration registration paperwork error on the part of the DC Democratic Party. I don't care what the reason is. It's par for the course. Now, I'm not going to jump off the deep end like some of my beloved Bernie Sanders supporters. I love you guys, but some of you guys are making this to be apocalyptic. The actuality of the fact of the matter is that they have the right, they have the ability to overturn this and make sure that his name appears on the ballot. To fix the ballot issue, according to the Hill, the DC Council could have an emergency vote if necessary. DC Democratic Party Chairwoman Anita Bond has informed NBC. It can be fixed. I don't think that's the problem and the concern for most people. The concern for most people is that this is just one in many in a consecutive events that is sketchy at best. So this is a major deal for DC. If his name doesn't appear on the ballot, of course, that's a huge issue. The fact that it's not on the ballot now, the fact that he turned in his information, his registration filing, he did everything he needed to do at the same time as Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is on it, but he's not. It does leave a very bad taste in the mouths of Bernie Sanders supporters. And it should, quite frankly, leave a bad taste in the mouth of anyone who's an objective observer. But the primary is on June 14th. They have plenty of time to correct this. The question is, when will they correct it? How quickly will they correct it? And what caused it in the first place? Right. So this voter who filed, this is interesting. I don't know the context that this has, so I'll dig into it a little more for you guys tomorrow. But the fact that dead smack in the middle of the story, they're discussing the fact that it was a individual voter who filed a challenge against Senator Sanders' campaign, his registration, which shows you just a little gloss on top of the story, as if it wasn't bad enough. It just shows you the levels to which they're willing to play games in this election, right? There is no this, and I want them to understand, this is something that's very important to me. You know, in the way I live my life, I think it's pretty decent, you know, with the exception of a few bad habits that I have. But my code, my moral ethic and my code that I live by is I give you exactly what you give me. And when you see stuff like this, these types of lowball smear campaigns, dragging this campaign through the mud, and you see someone actually challenge the registration of Senator Sanders in order to keep his name off the ballot, because that's the context that the story was cast. That shows you the level to which they're willing to go to try to win this. And I don't understand for the life of me, people who wallow in the mud, people who would do anything and everything to win, legal and illegal, moral and immoral, how they would expect anything else from the opposition. But what it is I think they do expect it, but what they like to do is feign outrage. They like to pretend like, oh God, Senator Sanders is so corrupt because he's running campaign ads, and his campaign ads tell the truth, but his truth is negative. And so, therefore, according to Karen Finney on MSNBC, according to Karen Finney, this is a smear campaign by Senator Sanders. You see how that works? So they want to be able to wallow in the mud. They want to be able to play little tricks like this individual voter in DC who apparently has had enough impact on Bernie Sanders' name appearing on the roll that it's mentioned in this article. They want to be able to play games like that, but you know, anytime Senator Sanders sneezes good, then of course, then he's the bad guy. But the point of the story is mainly this, that his name is not currently on the roll, and but it will be going if they have an emergency session. They vote in June. Their primaries are in June, and they have plenty of time to do so. So we're going to keep our eye. We're going to keep our eye on that.